Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about a very famous artist that you might have already recognized his name. This is Camille Pissarro. He was the only painter to exhibit in all 8 Impressionist exhibitions organized between 1874 and 1886. Camille Pissarro became a pivotal artist and mentor within the movement. Born on the island of St. Thomas, Pissarro's artistic inclinations didn't develop until he attended a boarding school near Paris. He committed his whole life to being a painter, eventually taking classes at the École des Beaux-Arts. While the Impressionists are known for their depictions of city streets and country leisure, Pissarro covered his canvases with images of the day-to-day life of French peasants, as seen here in Village Corner. His greatest work joins his fascination with rural subject matter with the empirical study of nature under different conditions of light and atmosphere, deriving from an intense study of French realism. There's something very comforting and nostalgic about Pissarro's work. I think he's the perfect artist to highlight as we move into fall and some of the colder months. Keeping a studio in Paris, he preferred to spend his time in Louveciennes, a rural region about 12 miles west of Paris favored by the Impressionists. There, distanced from the urban environment, he painted en plein air, depicting peasant subjects in natural settings and focusing on different conditions created by the changing of the seasons. In 1874, it was the first Impressionist exhibit, and we can see the characteristics of Impressionism to their full extent in this piece. Smaller brushstrokes to create these washes of color, painting en plein air, and regular people going about their day. Now we're going chronologically to see how Pissarro's style starts to change throughout his career. In 1873, he helped establish a collective society of 15 aspiring artists, the Impressionists, becoming the pivotal figure in holding the group together and encouraging the other members. Art historian John Rawald called Pissarro the dean of the Impressionists. Though he was the oldest, he sought out younger artists as colleagues and friends, and this consequently kept his own style of painting evolving into what we now know as post-impressionism and neo-impressionism. 1886 is considered the last official year of the Impressionist movement in the art canon, mainly because this is when Pissarro decided to leave the movement, so it further highlights his influence on the group. He began collaborating with the next generation of neo-impressionists, painters Paul Signac and Georges Seurat, in the mid-1880s. This affiliation with younger artists was both political and professional. Aesthetically, Pissarro was interested in the pointillist technique espoused by these artists for its theoretical basis in color theory. The paintings that resulted were distinctly different from his Impressionist work and were on display in the 1886 Impressionist exhibition, but in a separate section, along with works by Signac, Seurat, and Pissarro's son, Lucien. People at the time commented on Pissarro's ability to morph and change into what some thought to be a completely different artist. One critic wrote, quote, "It's difficult to speak of Camille Pissarro. What we have here is a fighter from way back, a master who continually grows and courageously adapts to new theories." Pissarro eventually turned away from neo-impressionism, claiming its system was too artificial. He explains it in a letter to a friend, quote, "Having tried this theory for 4 years and having then abandoned it, I can no longer consider myself one of the neo-impressionists." In Le Palme Bois de l'Eau, seen here, he transforms into what we now call post-impressionism. Moving away from the specific color theory and precision of pointillism, post-impressionism is defined by using real-life subject matter and an interest in emphasizing geometric forms and distorting them for expressive effect. So here in the Tuileries Gardens, the color palette and washes of color are specifically designed to evoke the gloom and glisten of rain. This final piece is a bit harsher in line and color, and this was one of 2 final paintings that Pissarro painted a few months before his death. At the time, he often painted from a hotel window, not being able to paint outside anymore due to recurring eye infections. So we can see here that slightly elevated vantage point because of that. Pissarro gives us a decidedly modern view of the harbor of Le Havre. He captures the onlookers in full motion, giving the scene the feel of a snapshot. The scene is also bluntly cut by the edges of the painting, also calling to mind the photographic images that fascinated so many painters at the time. Pissarro was constantly evolving throughout his career, as we've seen. He really solidified his standing with the Impressionists, but never got stuck in one way of painting. Cézanne was the most noted pupil of Pissarro, as were Van Gogh and Gauguin, these hugely renowned French artists. And Pissarro is really said to be the bridge that connected 19th century French realism to the more modern French movements of the 20th century. Thank you.